evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Wednesday, March the 22nd, 2023. I now call this San Juan Economic Development Corporation meeting to order. First item on the agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please. Boardroom, but I'll start with our roll call for our members. I'll start with my right.
Nikki Ibarra, board member.
Lenny Sanchez.
Arturo Guajardo Jr.
Ben Arjona.
Patterson.
And we've got a lot of members from the city here as well. So welcome, everyone. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up this special called meeting for the city of San Juan at 6:03 p.m. We already went through the Pledge of Allegiance through the EDC and Mr. Arjona, I guess, executive.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Mayor, Commissioners, EDC board members, we'll wait for the executive. We're going to go through a couple of items, and then we'll open it up for, but it's already open, so, yes, sir.
Okay, our next item is our public comments, item number 4. Ms. Martha, do we have anybody registered for public comments? Okay, with that said, then we'll move on to item number 5, our director's report. Mr. Arjona?
Yes, Mr. Chairman of the board, members, staff, city commissioners. I don't have a whole bunch of items. The first one is kind of crucial, is continue the talks with some of the business developers. There's quite a bit. I'll discuss that in executive session. Yeah, there's no flying donkeys this time, but but there's several that are very promising. They're coming. But the other one is we were approached by West Wind Homes that they would like to do a ribbon cutting. It is not a house that is ready per se, like a model home. They just want to do a ribbon cutting. They reached out, and obviously we can't say no to any developer or anybody like that. So they set up the time and date on April the 5th at 11:30 a.m. So like I said, it's a ribbon cutting. And also, we received this Vanguard Family Golf Classic, April the 1st golf tournament. It is not on the agenda. I received this today, as a matter of fact, yesterday. But they're asking for participation and a sponsorship. And there's a different levels of sponsorship for your consideration that we'll put at the next meeting. However, it's here on this meeting because we're not going to have another meeting until past April the 1st. This direction, and then we'll ratify the action at the next meeting.
I've always said I don't like doing that, but I mean, we have been doing that quite a bit, so whatever the wishes of the board
I
are.
guess in the future, we gotta just start making it, putting down policy that we get them a certain amount of days ahead of time.
And usually with these things, time, so I would say something about 30 days, so we can be prepared to see where we're at in the budget.
Do you guys want to take action or wait till the next meeting? I mean, it makes no difference unless you're going to participate in the golf tournament. Money's money.
We really can't take any action, just let me
Well,
know.
it's not even on the.
What
on the
direction you
agenda.
want me to take, and then at the next meeting, we'll
Well,
ratify
place it on the
for
next,
action.
next
I like to
agenda.
place on the next agenda, even afterwards, it's a
It's
fundraiser.
still a donation.
Right. I guess at the end, just give me direction as to you want to do the level 1, 2, 3, or whatever the different title sponsors
Well,
are.
I would ask that you put it on the agenda, and then at that point in time, we'll do the discussion, and we'll take action at that point in time. ¿Verdad? Fair enough? Is that good?
Fair.
Anything else, Mr. Arjona?
No, I think we're ready for to go into executive session. We have the team from Mr. Brian Godinez and the rest of the present what we call the revitalization of the downtown. It's you guys are going to be impressed. It's something very, very nice. So if we can.
So do you want him under executive session? Because it's also under open.
It's also in the open, unless you have a problem with going into executive session.
I don't think you need to.
No?
I-
Okay.
I
I know,
think we-
I know in the past it was because of the figures. We don't want to really let it out. But if there's nothing there that it's executive session, it has to be executive session.
It has to be?
I prefer it being
Preferred?
executive.
Okay.
Yes?
So I'll address you first. So I'm Brian Godinez with ERO Architects. We're your consultant for master plan and Nebraska revitalization. But I'll do the same thing here in just a minute for the city commission. But I just want to let you know that we're presenting the 90% schematic set for the Genesis project. And then we're going to give you a preview of 30% of the TxDOT set from Business 83 heading north. We're going to show you the 30% of where we are there. And then KCI, Mr. Garza, is going to talk about what we've learned from the traffic study, specifically focusing on U-turns and the ability and the information on why we can't do U-turns, and he'll explain that to you. And then we have some visuals to show you, some renders, some updated renders that we showed you a little preview last time. We have several boards that we're going to put up on easels and show you. We're going to walk you through those and explain what you're seeing, and then we want to roll a video. That's what we want to do tonight. And then
If you're ready to proceed, I'll go ahead and open.
we can do that. And also, I'm going to update you on the schedule and where we are with everything. And I know you wanted to move faster. We're moving faster in terms of getting everything done for you to have shovel-ready work. So I'm ready to present to both groups.
Very good. Let me go ahead and open this.
Mr. Chairman, just for the information, there's a schedule inside your packet. That's on the reddish folder. It's the first page there. So if there's going to be any changes, you can just mark them. That's going to be yours, as requested at the last meeting. So everything is pretty much there on the revitalization schedule.
Okay. Just for the sake of this meeting, then, we were on item number 5, our director's report. We're going to jump forward to item number 8, which is our executive session. So the San Juan Economic Development Corporation will convene an executive sessions in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Vernon statutes, and codes annotated Government Code Chapter 551.071 and Texas Government Code 551.087. The time is now, what is it? 6:09. We are now in executive session. Do I have well, let's go ahead and take a motion. Do I have a motion?
Second.
And a second to go into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We are now in executive session.
Time the city of San Juan will go into executive session at 6:09 PM. Is there a motion to? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The time is 7:27 PM, and we are reconvening this San Juan Economic Development Corporation meeting. We are now out of executive session. We do have other items that we will probably have to
I
go
think Mayor
back.
needs to close this out.
Reconvene. You need to go ahead.
Good, Mayor.
We're back from executive session at 7:27 PM. Is there a motion to reconvene? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
At this time, under executive session, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to give a directive to our city manager as discussed in executive session. That's a motion. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion adjourned?
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned for the city of San Juan at 7:28 PM. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You guys, thank you all. We're gonna do it right now. So with that said, is there any action to be taken out of executive session, board members?
I'd like to make a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session.
Motion and a second to direct our executive director to proceed as discussed in executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Now it's official. He will meet with you all. Thank you. Thank you, the whole team. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Back to. Our next item is 6-1. No, that's downtown revitalization. We already covered that. Our next item is 6-2, discussion and possible action, if any, on renewal agreement for the Buxton Agreement 2023.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, there is in front of you, there's the renewal for the Buxton software that we currently have in the EDC. This time it's at 35,000. So I'm asking for guidance on this, whether we need it. The only
I
thing,
would say no.
let me say that the only thing that we need here, just the traffic count, but we can get it from anywhere.
But we can get that, yeah, that's what you say, we can do it anyway. I mean, they were valuable for when we were getting started, I think, but there's so much going on and we have so much, valuable tools around us to be spending. I mean, I think that we can pretty much do it ourselves.
Yes, no, we
I
can.
don't know. Mr. Contreras, you guys, about Buxton, we want to renew 35.
trying to remember what witness came in because of them. And I just can't think of it.
The only thing provided, like I said, was traffic counts. That's about the only thing that we provided to these people. Some of the businesses that came over. But other than that, there's no other need for that. They've got their own.
Like, can we, based on the amount that we paid or anything like that, you think it'd be feasible for us to go outside and get it, and those traffic counts?
So one of the things, yeah, one of the things that we learned was that for the most part, 99% of all the developers that are coming in, they have their traffic counts, demographic studies.
Okay.
Mention that, I've learned along the way when I've asked the developers about this tool that we have available to them, they've all said, we have our own way of gathering the data, the demographics, the traffic, everything. I said, pues entonces, why do we have it?
Would it be more economical for us to do it, if we need it, in case we need it, with one-time deal versus a continuous lump sum amount that we're purchasing, no?
Well, we've got other avenues. If you'll recall, remember Brian brought a gentleman from the university? And we asked him here, I said, how do you get all that information?
They did it.
Remember, he says,
And they did it.
He puts it all together, just gets it from different sources.
Right.
So in other words, we have other ways of getting that information. Yes,
Second.
we've got a motion and a second not to renew this contract. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Our next item, 6.3, ratification of the PSG ISD 10th Annual Autism Acceptance Walk sponsorship for the $500.
Oh, this was the item that was brought before at the last meeting.
So we're
and-
ratifying now. We have a motion to ratify?
So moved.
A motion and a second? And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next item is 6.4, consideration approval of the annual audited financial report for fiscal year 2022.
Yes, we have the Office of Garcia and Peña here with us to present the presentation on the audit report. So, Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Manuel Garcia with Garcia and Peña CPAs out of Westaco, and I'm here to present your audit and answer any questions you may have. Let me just tell you, we got in the back of the report, you have this sheet that has a 5-year summary of revenues and expenses, and also we have a governor's letter at the back, at the rear of the report. Our report begins on page 8. Which is the independent auditor's report. On this one, I'm just going to cover 3 little paragraphs, because it's kind of lengthy. It's got about 2 or 3 pages. 3 pages long. Anyway, on the very top, we begin with the items that we audited, the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities of the San Juan Economic Development Corporation, a component unit of the city of San Juan, as of the year September 30, 22, with comparison to 21 on the related notes to the financial statements, which collectively comprise the San Juan Economic Development basic financial statements. On the second paragraph, this is a change from last year. We have, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the government activity of San Juan Economic Development Corporation. And this is a change from last year, but it's a clean report. There's no reservations, no qualifications. That means we received all the information we needed to do the work, and we allowed to visit with all the people in the organization that we needed to visit with. The other paragraph that's in here is the bottom of the page where it says responsibilities of management for the financial statements. And this is important because this is new. It was not here in the previous audit reports. In preparing the financial statements, management is required to evaluate whether there are conditions or events considered in the aggregate that raise substantial doubt about the San Juan Economic Development Corporation ability to continue as a going concern. In other words, if you feel you don't have the resources or not going to be able to have the resources for the next 12 months, you have to notify us that you're in that position. That pretty much in previous years, that was mostly our responsibility to view an audited entity and say, well, this just doesn't look possible to operate, where we would consult with the entity. We've never had that happen, but it happens sometimes with private accounts, but not, I've never seen it in the city. But it's important because it's different. It's different from prior years.
Did the law change or what?
Sir?
Did the law change, or you're saying that it's now our responsibility to tell you whether we think we're?
No, it is your
financially-
responsibility.
Oh, never
It's
been
always
the other
been?
way?
Eh?
It's never been the other way around?
I didn't understand that. I thought you said you used to tell us, now we have to tell you?
Yes. Because you're the ones that know whether you can have, whether you can have the ability to operate for a year or not. And basically what it does is, well, we still have the responsibility.
Yeah, but last year we also were in the same
Yeah.
position, but what changed?
Well, I guess the Institute of CPAs
Okay.
created
Some
this.
statute, some
It was
law.
probably, but remember, this is all comes from attorneys, it's not.
From attorney.
We don't, we don't write this report.
So I'm assuming some
See,
statute
The
changed.
attorneys are gonna write it so they protect us. And they're trying to protect us from some of this stuff, you know. So, I'm just gonna summarize a little bit on page D, before I get into the numbers. Page D through the end of this page is, through I, has a summary of your operations. Page D at the very top, financial highlights, describes all the changes that occurred in your financial statements. And then what I'd like to do is go to page 1. Page 1 is the comparative statement of net position. This is the balance sheet, you know, for most people that work with financial statements. And here at the very beginning, we begin with the cash and cash equivalents. And at the end of 22, you had $1,042,000 in the bank compared to $700,000 last year. And your investments were $907 compared to $501,000. And the other numbers that you do from other governments pretty much is the same. And of course, they do from other funds is you advanced the city $1,135,000 for the new government building that you're going to have over there. And it's really under construction at this moment. When it is completed, you're going to own part of that building. Then down below, of course, your total assets are $3,488,897, and of course we have a deferred outflow of resources for the pension of $6,512. That brings your total assets to $3,495,000. On liabilities, you have accounts payable, a little less than last year. You have a contract payable of $44,600, and of course then you have your long-term debt at the very bottom. $230,000 is to be paid this coming year, and you have a balance of $2,890,000 for the following years. And again, you have deferred inflows of resources in reference to your pension of $13,190. On the net position or capital that you have, the investment in capital assets less any liabilities is $278,676. You have $174,000 that is restricted, and you have an unrestricted balance of $153,192 negative. Compared to last year, it was 857,000 negative, so there was an improvement from last year to this year. On page 2 and 3, we have the statement of activities, or the P&L, as we know it better. On page 2, we have the 22 years. On page 3, we have the 21 years, a comparison. It's kind of in reverse than what we normally see in P&L statements, but we start with expenses at the very top. Your operating expenses at 682,000. And if you compare to 21, you had 791,000. Last year had 114,000 in interest. This was 106. Incentives last year was 147,500 versus 5,000 this year. That's why your expenditures are less this year, basically, because economic development expenditure were 485. Last year was 489, and you had culture and recreation, 85,000 versus 40,000 last year. So the big drop was really in the economic incentives.
What? What is the economic incentives? So we did 147,000 last year of that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember doing that much. Incentives. I mean, we do little grants for $2,000, $1,000, little things like that. Oh.
yeah.
So that's where it came from. And did we actually pay it out, or we did pay it out?
So we're good.
Okay. It's a big difference.
Which one?
Down below, we have your, excuse me.
Sorry about that. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Garcia. Okay.
Down below, we have the general revenues, starting with the sales 501. Last year, you had 1,307,000. The gain on sale of capital assets, we have, I'm sorry, that's unrestricted investment earnings, 8,848 versus 1,012 last year. That accounts for the high cash balances that you have. So total general revenues of 1,510,000. Now, the change in position is 827,892. That's a positive entry. So that's how much profit you had the year. And the net position was the net position beginning of the year was 527, and now it moves up to 395. On 21, you had 1,310,000 in general revenues, and you had a profit of 519,000. Did I say something wrong over here? No, okay. It was throwing me out. We had 395, and I remember talking about the 153. Okay, any questions on the basic financial statements? See, on page 6, is the same information in a different format, which is probably easier to read and easier to follow. We have the same sales tax of 1,501,000, the same interest earning of 8848. The main difference between this report and the one we just saw is that this one tells you how much principal was paid on your bonds, and it also identifies the capital outlay you had during the year. The other one does not. The other one is based on a complete accrual. So it treats the assets like we do on your financial statements when you have a business. They go to the balance sheet, and the only thing you recognize about your notes and your fixed assets is the depreciation on the fixed assets, and on the notes we only recognize interest. And this regular governmental accounting, principal and interest are in the expenditure section. At the very top, you begin with your personnel services, personal service of 162,000. You have rental fees of 40,000. And then your utilities at 18,000. And then the contract services, we have legal at 52,000, accounting at 24,500. That's not all ours. And then we have IT, the technician. This is new at 44,600, because he's the one doing all the technical for the computers for the city and y'all. So, and then you have the consulting at 39,000 and other fees of 61,000. And then under culture and recreation, we have 85,437. Economic incentives, 5,000. Then on capital outlay, you have 85,000 spent on the downtown revitalization and furniture and fixture of 5,500. Then on your debt service, you pay 210,000 principal on your bonds and notes and 107,000 in interest. And this one has a positive number of 532,799. And we add that to the beginning fund balance of 2595, we end up with 3,128,000 in fund balance. But this is strictly governmental accounting. It's not in accrual basis like the front. Have any questions?
Garcia, you said earlier that we're going to be owners of part of the building, City Hall?
Yes, sir.
What part? How much?
Well, you're gonna own 1,137,000 at this point. I don't know if later on the city requests more money from you.
So more than likely what's gonna happen is that once the person is already done with it for a year, depending on the, I forget the percentage that was taken on the bottom, so if it's 10%, the building is 10 million, obviously they're gonna be able to that as an asset to the EDC. So that's gonna be once we get the first, once everything is in the 10% of it, which is like, that's what I'm, also what I don't know what it was, is it 10% from the EDC, 25% from somebody else, I forget the, yeah, it was, I believe it was 20%, 20%, it was something, that was just one number.
Second question I have is, I'm sitting here thinking, I know we're in March, and usually we review this, or this is presented to us in fall. And I just noticed that these reports do have September 30th, 2022. Why are we seeing it now? No, in the fiscal year. Don't we see this information in fall, or why are we seeing it now?
The audit source is due at the end of this month. So this is last year's audit.
The year is September 30, and then normally the process is the city, has to finalize all their accounts receivable, accounts payables, everything that they're posting. The government gives them 6-month leeway to present the reports, and all reports are due March 31st. That's basically how it is. And then we do our audit process beginning, normally we start November, December, and do December to February.
But this has been ready since September 3rd.
No, the year end is September.
That's where the year ended.
This has been ready, so we've had it ready probably since the end of February.
The end of February.
So basically, it could be faster, the faster we turn it in as a whole.
The turnaround. I think 6 months is a time frame.
So we're within the parameters, right, of what the law
Yes.
requires? Okay.
The due date on this is
March 31st. Okay. Anything else?
The other page I wanted to look at is page 8. And this is just a comparison with your actual expenditures and revenues. And mainly just for your information as far as, there's nothing wrong here, even though you went over budget on the capital outlay, which is quite normal. And the debt services, again, you were over by 10,000. So that's the only items that stand out of the comparison with the budget. And the other page that I have is on page 15, is the long-term debt. And this is what's important here is that you do have three notes. We have the bonds payable, general GO bonds issued in 2016. And last year, the balance was 1,420,000. This year is 1,325,000. Then you have some sales tax refund in bonds from 2018. And last year was 835. This is 760,000 this year. And then you have some bonds from 2020. The initial amount was 1,100,000, and now you're at 1,055,000 last year and 1,015,000 this year. And down below is a schedule of the changes in your bonds and notes. We have the balances of 2021, September 30, 2021, and then we have additions, reductions, and the balance for the current year, and then shows what is due in 23.
Does the interest rate increase that's going on right now, will that affect us at all on these bonds? No. They're locked in.
No, your bond rates are fixed.
Good.
They're not variable.
Are there any findings or concerns that we need to worry about, Mr. Garcia?
No, we don't have any negatives to report as far as compliance or misspent or, everything's pretty much in order. Whatever you budgeted came through, and any restrictions on any funds were done in accordance with those restrictions. So we don't have any negatives or as far as the accounting or the management. The only other item that I wanted to cover was that 5-year summary. Because it does give you a little more insight on where you've been and how things have been. It's just a one-pager that we have in the back of the report, which is this one. And it covers from 2018 through 2022. At the very top, we have the sales taxes for each year, and as you can see, they all pretty much increase every year except 2020. We had 1,049,000 in 19, and it dropped to 1,040,000 in 20. Then it picked up to 1,307,000 in 21, and this year is 1,005,000. So that's pretty good.
But they all increased. None of them went down.
Yeah.
2020 went up also.
Huh?
You said it went down more, didn't it? 2020.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I thought, okay. Yeah, I didn't see the 1. I just saw the 40. On the expenditures, well, pretty much, economic development pretty much stands out. I mean, it's not too erratic from year to year. Culture and recreation, you spent 106,000 in 19, and then you dropped to 77,000 in 20, 40,000 last year, and 85 this year. And economic incentives, this was a low year, 5,000. 147,000 last year, 47,500 in 20, none in 2019, and 1,959,579 in 18. Of course, then we have the interest on the bond and issuance costs. Biggest year was 19 with 164,000.
Up from 2021, 1,405,284 to this year, 1,938,306. That's our fund balance. Yes, sir. Where is it at? It's unassigned, page 4 on the bottom. Unassigned. Yes, sir.
Any questions? Any questions on the financial statement? Well, it's a good report, let's face it, and viewing the activity that you have going on, I think they're gonna be better, because you're getting a lot of new businesses in town.
Developments are going up and we're still generating this kind of stuff, so I mean, something's going good.
The other area that we need to cover is just the governor's letter, governance letter. This is communication with those in charge of government, okay? And basically, this is again one of those things that we don't write necessarily, we just use it and add to it wherever we think we need to add to it as far as the information that we send out. On the first paragraph, we just tell you what we audited and under what terms that we audited, because we do have regular governmental accounting audit, and we have, the government, the federal government also has their rules, and we follow those to the extent of the grants that you get from the federal government. Then we have significant audit findings, and, of course, we don't have any. And we noted transactions entered by the government unit during the year for which there is lack of authoritative. We don't have any of that. All significant transactions have been recognized in the financial statement in the proper period. That means any adjustments we did were already in your system, and they're reported on the audit. And of course, we have a note on the depreciation, we say that it's normal. And we encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management or performing the audit. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements, anything we corrected is already in the audit and in your accounting records as well. And we didn't have any disagreement with management. And we're going to be issuing you're going to be issuing a representation letter to us, just to let us know that you gave us all the information we needed to work with, and basically you complied with all the rules and regulations that you're required to work with. And we don't have any issues with the accounting or anything else in the report. So that pretty much concludes my report, unless you have some questions that we can work with.
We're good. Any questions for Mr. Garcia? The lawyer, your partner, is he also a lawyer or no?
The what?
Mr. Peña here on your name, your partner, no? Do you have a partner?
No, he's not an attorney, he's a CPA.
Will you approve it?
That's it? No question, no further questions? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the audit as submitted.
So move.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you. We really enjoy working with your staff and Mr. Arjona.
Appreciate
Thanks for your
it.
time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is our consent agenda. We got approval of minutes for February 8th, 2023, February 22nd, 2023, March 7th, 2023. If you all have had an opportunity to review those minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve them. So unless you have any changes, no? Got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, I've been instructed by Mr. Arjona that we need to go back into executive session, so the time is 7:59. Do I have a motion to go back into executive session? Got a motion
Second.
and a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. We are now in executive session at 7:59. Oh, before we do that, for the record, Mr. Contreras joined the meeting at, what did you say, 6:12? Thank you. The time is 8:47, ladies and gentlemen. We are reconvening the San Juan Economic Development Corporation meeting. Do we have any action to be taken out of executive session, members?
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and proceed, directed in executive for,
Item number what?
on item number, what number was it with the,
That's item
number 2?
for the professional services.
Executive services.
So we have a motion and a second
Item 2.
for item number 8.2 to direct our executive director, Mr. Arjona, to proceed as discussed in executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Have a motion to adjourn. A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. We are adjourned.